Good morning. Time is already 10 o'clock Finnish time, 9 Swedish Norwegian time. I think we should start. So, welcome to our webinar Best Formula for Measuring Success, Smart Goals with Smart KPIs. I believe you should see now the poll. So while we have this welcome part, you could answer the question, have you ever been attending any of our webinars? Just let me know if you cannot see it. In the chat box from the right side, your screen, there is a chat box. So there we can communicate. But I will continue. So this is the 10th and the last webinar organized by the project My Story Along the Northern Lights route. My name is Natalia Pulakka and I'm from Lapland University of Applied Sciences, Tornio campus. So, and I would like to introduce you my colleague, Anna-Maija. Hello.
Hello, good morning everybody. My name is Anna-Maija Tapojärvi and I am working as a marketing teacher here in Tornio in Lapland University of Applied Sciences. And I am working as well as a marketing expert in this My Story project. My Story project team started in December a series of webinars about digital marketing and content marketing. And in this third webinar, we have Amanda Manner from MySome to guide us how to measure success smartly and effectively. Here you can see our today's agenda. First, to get where you want to go, you need a clear sense of direction. We will start with how to set up smart goals and targets you want to hit. But how do you know you are moving in the right direction? For that, you need to select the right metrics, called KPIs, to measure each of your goals. In today's webinar, we will cover these topics, and please present questions in the chat box and Amanda will answer to you. In the middle of the webinar, we will take a short coffee break, and our today's webinar will last for about 2 hours. Now, let's warmly welcome Amanda to the stage.
Hello, everyone, and nice to meet you all virtually here. Should I start presenting? Just a moment, I will share my screen to you all. And
yeah, before we, while you are sharing the screen, I will tell a few words more to the audience. So maybe some kind of practical issues. I don't know for how many of you the Livestorm platform is. Have you ever been using it? So, but it's very simple, very easy to use, in my opinion. So there is on the right down corner, there is a chat box you can see, as I mentioned before. So please write your question, your comments in this chat box, and you can communicate there. Also, you have these polls, like polls tab, polls menu. And there is the our poll. Have you been attending any of our previous webinars? You can also answer this question. And of course, you will see the attendees and you see their names. What else? The slides that Amanda will share with us, you can download it yourself. When you move the mouse on the right up corner of the slide, there will be an icon as a cloud icon. So by clicking with icon, you will be able to download the slides. Then the webinar have already started to be recorded, and the recording will be delivered to your email automatically after the webinar ends. And also there will be a link to feedback survey. So please take it because it's very important for us to know your opinion. Your opinion about the webinar, about how it was organized and the content. Yeah, what else? And about the question, so as I mentioned right during the presentation in the chat box, and then we will go them True. Yeah, so then I think I can stop sharing my slide, and then Amanda will start sharing her slides. Yes, Amanda.
Thank you. Just a moment. And here we go. You should be able to see the presentation right now.
Yes, yeah,
Perfect.
we can see it.
Are we ready to begin?
I think so. So
Yes.
let's start.
Let's start. So our topic today is best formula for measuring success, smart goals with smart KPIs. And let's start with a quick introduction and a welcome on my behalf as well. Great to see such a big turnout here. And hello from Helsinki. I think you are all in the north, Finland, Sweden, and Norway. So it's very exciting to see such different people here attending today. And yes, I am Amanda Manner, and I'm currently working as a social media coordinator at MySome, a social media agency in Helsinki. And I have a master's degree in marketing, and I've acquired some versatile experience from marketing and social media. And I work here at this social media agency and a tiny startup in Paris, France. So it's been very interesting, and I've been able to learn a lot. So I'm very happy and eager to share my insights with you as well today. I'm very much specialized in copywriting and producing all kinds of content, but also I do the advertising and data and analytics side as well. So it's very much comprehensive what I'm doing in social media. And I'm always eager to learn more. So I'm happy to be sharing my knowledge with you guys today. And then about MySome, just to get a little information about my background and the company I'm working at on a daily basis. So MySome is a Helsinki-based social media agency. There are about 30 of us social media specialists here, and we are working monthly with over 120 brands. You can see them on the right. Some of them, they are quite well-known Finnish brands and international brands as well. We have McDonald's, Tafel, various big shopping centers, K Group, and much more. So basically all kinds of brands. Been very interesting. And we offer coaching to various clients in various different fields, consulting and workshops and sparring and everything related to social media. And we are specialized on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, but we are always happy to follow the current trends and figure out all the new rising channels too. And additionally, we do LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, and other social media channels as well. But our focus today will be on main channels, Facebook and Instagram. And we manage the whole social media field, and we are aiming to be the leading social media agency in Finland. And we are well on our way there. It's been a very interesting journey. Yes, so now, so it's not only about me and the company, I would like to get to know you guys as well. So I'd like you all to write on the chat who you are, the company you're working with, or some of you are students, I believe, whether you're a student, and then which social media channels you are using for your company. So you can just write it down on the chat. I'll give you some time, no rush. Your name, company, or whether you're a student, and the main social media channels. See a lot of people are typing. Great to hear. Facebook and Instagram. Nice to meet you all. We have students here as well. Perfect. So Facebook and Instagram definitely seem to be the most popular ones in here as well. Anyone else writing anymore? Yes. So interesting tourism companies. Very happy to hear. And LinkedIn seems to be here as well, strongly. YouTube as well. Mostly Facebook and Instagram. Very nice. I think I cannot see anyone typing anymore, so I think we're just gonna move on to our topic of today and start with social media goals in general. So let's begin with setting goals. When you're setting goals, it's always an important thing to remember that the goals you are setting are in line with the whole business, because social media and marketing goals in general cannot be separate from the other business goals you have. So you should always develop a very clear, cohesive image of what is going on with the company and how the marketing you are going to be doing will support the whole company's actions and functions. For example, if you're trying to build a brand community and a strong collaborative brand image, this should also be seen with your marketing efforts. So it cannot only be very harsh selling or price-based marketing messages if it's community what you're trying to build. So think about the main goals you are trying to achieve and always apply them when you're doing marketing and setting goals. And of course, I'm talking about companies in here, but the same idea very much applies to other organizations, companies, and charities as well. So always think of the bigger picture when you're setting goals in order to make sure that they fully support the whole company's actions. And then what kind of challenges can you tackle with marketing, and how can social media help? Well, the easy answer is in many ways. For example, through social media, you can acquire more contacts. If you want people become more interested in what you're offering, you can engage followers with the content you're providing and increase the number of your website visitors. For example, if you have a web store or a web event or any kinds of website you want to get people to visit, and then you can strengthen the brand image you're trying to create and maintain through social media. And of course, gain a lot of visibility and spread your message throughout social media. You can target, for example, the whole country or whole world or whatever is what you're trying to achieve with your content. And then you can, for example, encourage event registrations. If you're doing an event online or offline, you can create different event. For example, in Facebook, you can create an event and you can invite people to join it too. And there's much more possibilities that are offered through social media. For example, if your goal is to sell products, you can sell more by sharing information about the products, sharing user reviews, guide the reviewers the viewers to the website, or there's endless possibilities. Or if the goal is to strengthen the brand and establish a clear brand image, you can share information about the company, create and utilize your own specific tone of voice, and develop your own visual identity you can use throughout the channels. And this will help people to really recognize your brand in social media. So there are very much possibilities that you can and should utilize when using social media. And then I believe some of you might heard of SMART goals before, but it's always good to remember that good goals are SMART, meaning they are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. How many of you have heard of SMART goals before? You can share in the chat if this is familiar with you. Just type down yes or no. Yes. No. Yes, not so much. No? Okay, perfect. We're going to go through them very thoroughly, so don't worry if you haven't heard of them. So let's start with specific. So first of all, good goals should always be specific, and you should be as specific as possible, because if you want to take your company to the next level in social media, you should try to make them as specific as possible. So don't just say, I want to make more money with my company, although that might be the goal, but you should really be more specific about it in order to actually reach those goals. So say you want to, for example, increase your sales with the help of social media in order to, by growing your website visitors by 20% during the next 6 months. So this way you will have a clearer goal on what you're aiming towards. It's always the clearer, the better. So always try to make them very clear, so you can always look at the goal you have and then always make it smart. And in order to be smart, they also have to be measurable. So in order to follow how your goal is coming along, you need to know where you're starting from. So do a thorough check on your starting point and gather any prior data you might have. And then you can see how the numbers will start developing once you start doing your marketing efforts in order to reach the goals you have set. And then, of course, attainable. It's always good to be attainable, because it can be a bit depressing if you're setting goals that you will never reach. So make sure that they are actually realistic. So if your sales, for example, through Instagram are usually quite stable or are quite linear, it's probably not a good idea to set your goal to double or triple your sales in a short period of time. So make it attainable as well. So yes. And then relevant as well. Cannot forget about that one either. So let's go back to thinking about the bigger picture again. You should always think, is my goal in line with the whole company? And is it relevant? Does it go hand in hand with my other business goals as well? Because social media, you should always have a strategic idea behind your social media presence. And lastly, time-bound as well. It's good to be very realistic with this one as well, and to set a clear time frame, and shouldn't keep it too short, in order to give it enough time to progress, because if it's too short, the time frame you have, it might give you false results, because there are many things that might happen in a short time. So you should always give it some time to actually see how it will progress. And in social media, this is usually 6 months or so, maybe a year. You can always decide it based on your company. But if you're thinking about following it for a week or 2 weeks or a month, it's usually too short, because there are seasons and a lot of things that can affect the marketing in social media. Does this sound clear to you? The idea about SMART goals? So specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Always think of these 5 principles when you are setting goals. And remember that you can always ask questions in the chat. I will be having a look at it every now and then. And then before the coffee break, we will have some time for questions as well. So don't worry if something sounds unclear or you want more information, just ask and we will go through it more thoroughly. So no worries. And then we are moving on to the objectives for advertisement. So once you have set your goals, you are ready to start reaching towards them. So let's just go quickly through some of the advertising options that are provided in the social media channels and their advertising. So in order to better understand what you can really utilize and what you can use for different types of content, we can go through the 3 most common and used objectives, which are reach, traffic, and engagement. I heard that in previous seminars, you've gone through the elements of successful content strategy already and how to optimize content. So I won't go too far into detail with them, but always remember to optimize the content to be similar with the advertising objective that you have. So reach means that the ad will be shown to an audience as wide as possible. And this means that the content can, for example, be quite informational, since you want the message to spread to as many people as can. And then traffic means that the ad will be guiding the user to an external website from the social media channel that there is, for example, a web store. And then engagement means that the user will engage with your post. They can, for example, like it or give a comment or share it or click the image open and other kinds of engaging acts. So if you're doing paid advertising, it's always good to keep these 3 objectives in mind and see how they would fit the content and how you can really optimize the content in order to utilize them as well as possible. And then we can move on to the actual KPIs and how to utilize them in the marketing in social media. So there are a lot of things you can measure on social media. Don't be scared of the big lists, because we are going to go through them thoroughly, so don't worry. But most of these you can set numeric goals for this, and for some you can follow them a bit more thoroughly and figure out ways to see how they are progressing that are suitable to yourself and the company's goals. So in general, we have brand awareness, customer acquisition, customer service, engagement, and I've gathered up some other goals as well to give an idea of what can be followed in social media. So brand awareness in general means how familiar the people are with the brand and how well they recognize it when they see it. And then customer acquisition, of course, meaning how to gain more customers for your business. And customer service, these are numbers concerning the customer service, can be used as a way to measure success as well. And then engagement, how interested the customers are with the brand and how likable is it. And then other goals as well. I've picked up a few examples here. If you take a look at the goals and the KPIs, on the first look, do they sound familiar, or are there a lot of new words for you? You can utilize the chat option again and tell whether they are familiar to you or not. Yes, they are. Some of these are a bit more self-explanatory than others. Some of them are familiar, but most of them are not. Perfect. So it's good that we're going to be going through them very thoroughly, so no worries. So let's begin with brand awareness. You can follow how many likes or followers you have, likes in Facebook or followers on Instagram. This is usually a good number to see how interesting your content is and how many people want to see it regularly. So it's something that can be followed on Facebook and Instagram, but also on YouTube and LinkedIn in other channels as well. And then, of course, reach. That means how many unique individual users are seeing your content. So it's about getting your message spread as far and wide as possible. And then impressions is about how many views. It's quite similar to reach, but with reach, it's the individual users, but with impressions, it's the number of the views, since some people can see your ad or content many times. For example, some can see the same post 5 times or 7 or 10 times. So the reach is still one, but the impressions for that one person can be anything from 1 to as much as possible. So impressions is the whole number of views that the content has had. And then video views, of course, it's very self-explanatory. So how many times the video has been seen. And then competitor ranking. This can be followed, for example, on Facebook. There is an option to put your most important competitors, and it makes a list that gives you an analysis of the numbers that you have compared to your competitor. And it's always good to keep an eye on how it's going compared to other people in the same field of business. And then number of shares, meaning how many times the post has been shared. This can be, for example, in Facebook feed or Facebook messages, or Instagram story can be shared as well. So it's a very good number to follow on how people want to share your message to other people, their friends or their feed as well. And then number of location tags. You can tag the location in Facebook and Instagram, for example, and then you can see how often, for example, a restaurant or a city or other places are being tagged. So it's good to follow up on that as well. And then the same applies to hashtags as well. You can see how many times your company's hashtag has been used. It's always good to see and encourage people to use it while they are interacting with your company on social media. And number of visitors, this can be seen in LinkedIn especially, and how many people have been visiting your page and how interested they are in seeing your content and the whole brand in the channel. And then we can move on to customer acquisition. Before that, I will just take a look if there are anything or any questions in the chat. No, perfect. Moving on to customer acquisition. So the first KPI here is link clicks, which means the viewer will click a link that will take them outside the social media channels into a website that can be, for example, an event registration page or a web shop or any kind of website you can add. Or this can be, for example, a restaurant menu as well. So it's always good to guide the users to the page they can get more information from or register or buy something. And then, of course, lead generation, which means attracting people, for example, to buying a product or ordering an online guide or giving their contact information for the company. And then call to action clicks can be followed as well. You might see them, for example, in Facebook. There is the post and then there is the handle that says read more or buy now or make a reservation or other kinds of encouraging call to actions. So you can follow them as well and see how well they are working. And then, of course, contacts. So people who are contacting the company about, for example, the products or services and wanting to know more and possibly buying as well. And then customer service. So there are many things you can measure about customer service as well. There's, for example, the response time that you can see that how long it takes to respond to. Oh, just a moment. A technical issue. I will just get this. It's freezing. Okay. I think it's, yes, okay. Perfect. No worries, it's working again. So in general, about customer service, let's move on to the, I think I was on response time, so number of requests. So usually the number of requests becomes bigger when the company grows or there are more purchases. So this is something that can be followed as well. And then customer satisfaction can also be followed and see whether it's positive or neutral or negative, and you can create a system on how you want to measure this and see how well the customers are responding to your business and your offers. And then reviews and recommendations, of course, are important as well and something that should be followed in order to see how well it's going. So, for example, on Facebook, the customers and users can give stars and leave reviews. And you can see, for example, some company might have 4.2 stars, and then there are the reviews that the users can leave in order for other people to see them as well. And then the phone call clicks, there is this box in Facebook that can be used for customer service calls, and you can add your number there, and it's an easy way for the users to contact you, and you can follow how many people are using this in order to see. And then, of course, different kind of community activities. For example, taking part into conversation and commenting on Facebook groups, and being widely recognized in different social media channels. This is not utilized as much for many brands, so it's a great possibility if the brand can naturally incorporate this to their actions in social media and becoming more likable as well by being present. And there is a question, can all these KPIs be followed up from the insight menu in Instagram? Most of them can, but some, of course, are not measurable, but the ones that you can see on Instagram can be, for example, followers and reach and impressions and engagement are always easy to see from the insight menu. But we will get back to this soon, and I will give you a task where you can see them. So we will be coming back to this. But yes, most of them you can see always. And then moving on to engagement, are there any other questions about the brand awareness, customer acquisition, or customer service, or does everything sound clear to you? Perfect, I'm assuming it's clear. So we are moving on to engagement next. So engagement can be seen, of course, directly in the social media posts. So people can like, comment, share, or save them. Or if you click open the image that, for example, is in LinkedIn or Facebook, that is also considered as an engagement. And then, of course, the number of reactions. For example, in LinkedIn, there's not only the like option, there's also the celebrate and support and love as well. So you can follow these and see how excited people are. For example, if they're not only liking, but they are celebrating, it can be seen as a sign that it is very well received. And then the number and tone of comments is something that you can follow as well. It's not as easy, and you cannot get a direct numeric KPI from this, but it is something that can be done regularly, and following the comment sections and seeing what is happening in there and how many people are commenting there and what tone is it. Is it positive or negative or neutral? So this can be followed as well. And then, of course, event participation as well. You can organize events, for example, Facebook events, and invite people to join them. So you can follow the number of the participants. And then audience retention. This might not be as a familiar term for many, but this is linked to the videos. For example, in YouTube, this means how long the people will be watching the video. For example, if there's a 1-minute video and people usually stop watching it after 20 seconds, this means that the audience retention number is on average, maybe 20 seconds. So it can tell a lot about the content and how interesting it is to the viewers. And then, of course, there can be other goals as well. For example, in activity, it's very much an internal goal. some of these goals are external, meaning that they are linked to the people seeing the post or reacting to them, or the customer service request. But for this, for example, activity, it's only up to the business and the content creator. So for example, you can follow the number of posts that are made into the social media account. For example, if you're doing 2 Instagram posts per month or 4 Facebook posts per month, you can always follow it and set goals with this as well. And then demography is also important, because for some products, it can be very useful to set and target a very limited kind of profile of users. For example, for some product, you might want to target middle-aged women or young students, or whatever is the right type of audience for that product in question or service. And of course, you can follow how well you are establishing a certain style and tone in social media. So you are creating your own and well-known identity through the social media channels and posts. And then highlighted here are what I would say are the most relevant KPIs for a majority of the companies. So you definitely do not need to follow all of these, but always figure out the ones that are most relevant to your companies. So with brand awareness, definitely number of likes and followers is something that is good to see how it progresses through time, and the same goes with reach impressions. So you will see how many people are actually receiving your message through these channels. And with customer acquisition, usually link clicks is something that is good to follow through social media channels, and it's very easy to follow as well. And with customer service, number of requests, meaning how many people are trying to find out more about your product, or this is usually a good number to follow how the company is growing and progressing as well. And reviews and recommendations are, of course, important, because you want to see how people are responding to the company and how they think and how they will spread word of mouth. And hopefully it will be positive in order to really grow and spread organically as well. And with engagement, post engagement, of course, meaning how interested the people are actually in the content. So it's a good number to follow. You can follow, for example, the likes or comments or the engagement as a whole. And then the activity, number of posts is something that is good to, is very good to set a clear goal with this in order to really make your social media accounts running very smoothly. I will just check the questions. Thank you very much, Anthony. It was nice having you here. Are there any questions at this point? You can always ask in the chat, and I will answer them. Perfect. Let's move on to the next slide. So the KPIs that I just presented can be followed from within the channels themselves internally or from external tools. So from the channels, for example, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, They all have their own analytical tools that you can follow and see how the numbers are progressing. So it's good to use them, and they are free, so that's definitely a plus. But you can also use external tools that usually allow you to, for example, schedule the posts as well. These can be Sprout or Hootsuite or other channels as well. But usually when you're starting, there's no need for these. The internal channels will be plenty already. So I do recommend you to use Facebook's Business Suite for Facebook and Instagram, since this will give you a very clear image of what is going on in the channels and how much you are reaching people and what kind of impressions you are getting and how many engagement you are raising as well. So it's very good to follow the numbers from the tools that are provided within the channels. And of course, it's also very good to follow the prices as well and seeing how well your advertising is going if you're doing paid advertising. These are some of the numbers you should definitely check and keep an eye on. CPM, CPC, CPE, and CPV. Are these familiar to many? You can tell in the chat yes or no again. Yes? Not really? No? Yes? No? Perfect. So let's go through them again. So CPM means cost per mil, so cost per 1,000 views. So it's about the reach and impressions here. And CPC means cost per click. So how much does one click to the external website the viewers will be directed to will cost? And then CPE, meaning cost per engagement. So how much will, for example, a like or a comment on average cost? And then CPV, cost per view. So this is for videos, how much one video view will cost. And then usually many will ask, what is a good price for this? And it really depends on many factors. For example, the business, the field, the company's size or location, or the social media channel that is used. And there are many factors that will affect this. But in general, for CPM, it's usually some euros. And for CPC and CPE, it's between, well, maybe 20 cents and €1. And then for cost per view, it's usually some cents. So there are a lot of reference prices you can check, and you can Google, for example, Facebook engagement, cost per engagement reference, and there are a lot of results that come from there. And you can, of course, compare it to your prior results and see how it's progressing. But it's always good to check up the prices and see how they compare, so there won't be any unnecessary cost. If you can see that something isn't really working, you can start improving and see how you can get better and more affordable price for your content. And then you can always start with smaller budgets and see how it goes and see where you should allocate your budget to. And then we are done with our first half of this seminar. And now we have some time for questions before we take a little coffee break. So you can write them on the chat or open your mic and camera and ask as well, however you would like to. So feel free to ask. I will give you some time to write it in the chat, so don't worry, you will have time. There is Natalia asking, do these CPC, CPV only work for paid ads? Yes, they work for paid ads since you are putting money into the advertising. So you will see how it's spread and how much it can be, how much certain actions will cost. So if you're just posting the content, of course, it's going to be free for you. So then the numbers will, of course, be 0 for them, but you can still see the, for example, the link clicks or reach or engagement, but the cost per click or cost per engagement or other objectives you are measuring won't cost you. And then moving on to the next one. Where would you suggest an entrepreneur to start with regarding selecting the right goals? This is, of course, looking at the bigger picture as well and what the company is doing. For example, if it's an online company or a web store, you can start with trying to attract more visitors to your website, which of course means that you will want to get more link clicks and get people directed to visiting the websites. So it's always very much based on the company and what the goals are. So for example, if you're trying to build a community and get more people to follow you and comment and like, then it's always good to choose more engagement-based goals. But if you're, for example, trying to launch your company and get more people to know about it, you want brand awareness, which means you should get more impressions and views and get people to see the messages you are providing and get the content to spread as wide as possible. So it's a difficult question to answer since it depends a lot on the business and the goals that the business has overall. And there is Mintu saying that she cannot see the download link anymore.
About the download link, I can ask. Can I ask from others? Like, is it the same for you? Can you download the materials? Could you chat in the? Could you write in the chat box? And if it's for all of you, then I will check from technical, like team, what is the problem. But it should be like when you are. When you are like moving your mouse, it should appear on the right corner. I cannot see it because I'm a host, but I know that on your side it should be visible. So please write in the chat box and we will come back to this question.
Great. Okay, so it has stopped working, but hopefully it will be arranged soon. And Remington Fox is asking which KPIs you should follow the most frequently. Here you can see, of course, it depends on how often you are, for example, sharing content. But for example, post engagement is something you should be, well, there's nothing you can, you should really be doing daily, but it's something you should be following on a regular basis to see how well the posts are attracting the viewers and followers and likers, to see how to continue continue making more engaging content as well. And of course, number of likes and followers is something that is good to be followed as well, and the reach and impressions to see that your message is really spreading to the right audiences. And if you are doing customer acquisition based advertising, link clicks, of course, is something that is very good to follow up on. And of course, reviews and recommendations, something that should be taken into consideration as well. Great, thank you. Do we have any more questions? Still have a bit of time for this? Don't worry, you will have time to ask your questions at the end of the webinar as well, so don't worry. Okay, I think now it's a good time for us to have a little coffee break in order to reflect on the first half of the webinar and get yourself a coffee. So let's take about 10 minutes and come back at 11:05. Finnish time, I believe Swedish and Norwegian time, it's 10:05. So let's continue in 9 minutes. Thank you for this half.
Thank you. I just will write to the chat box that we are back in 10 minutes and see you soon again.
Perfect. Thank you.
Amanda, can we try, can we withdraw the file and share it again? Probably it will help.
Yes. Just a moment.
I can remove it, and if you will share it again, maybe then
Yes.
the audience will be able to download.
Yes, it's currently uploading. So hopefully it will work. And if not, I think I can just send it to you if you can forward it to the participants by email or other channel.
But I hope this updating will help
Yes,
us
I hope
at
so
least
too.
what the
It's currently processing the file.
actually we can choose the file what you uploaded today.
Okay.
Yeah, the same file. Can you see it right in the list of?
Perfect. Should be there now.
Yeah, it's now uploaded, so you can share.
Perfect.
And Mintu and others who need to download, could you check now? Is it working? No, still not working.
Okay.
Okay, then cannot see. Yeah. Okay, then we will send the slides after the webinar to your email. Then we have to forward this question to technical team. Yeah, but then let's continue the presentation.
So let's continue with a bit more practical side. So now we're going to go see how we can find the insights sections from the different channels we have. So you can decide which one is the most relevant to you, whether you are using Business Suite, where you can find Facebook and Instagram both, or whether you are using Facebook desktop version or Facebook mobile version or Instagram mobile version. So we're going to go through all of these four and see where you can actually find the insights, so you can find the numbers and then continue making progress with them. So you can just choose the one that's most fitting to you, but we will start with Business Suite Desktop. And in case you don't have it available right now, or if you're a student and don't have the company account where you can log into, I will show some screenshots in here as well, so you can follow how it would work. So let's begin with Business Suite Desktop now. How many of you are using Business Suite? You can tell in the chat again and go to your own computer and find this view from Business Suite. So I recommend you all to grab your own computers and seeing how this works. So we will go step by step through this. Okay, not using and just on the phone, not on a computer. Let's go through Business Suite quickly. So this is the general view you will get from Business Suite. And what's really useful about Business Suite is that it combines the information from both Facebook and Instagram. So it's very helpful for companies who are using both. So if you are not using it currently, I recommend you to upload it and see if it would be helpful for you and the business. So here is the home screen where you can see a handle on the left bar, and there is a section that says Insights that is highlighted with the pink on there, and you can just choose it. For the ones that are using Business Suite, just click on the Insights. And then after you get to the Insights, the general view should look something like this. So it combines the numbers from both Facebook and Instagram, and you can, for example, see the reach from here for both of the channels, and page likes, and the demographics of the follower base that you have. And there is the handle on the left that gives you options to see the overview or the results or the content or audience. And from the general view, you can follow the key KPIs that you want to see and how they have progressed over time. And then if you choose the results, the content, and the audience, you can see a more clearer, comprehensive view from all of these three. So it's very useful, and you can see both of the channels in here. And I highly recommend you to use Business Suite, as it's an easy way to keep up with the numbers. And then we are moving on to Facebook desktop. So if you are using Facebook on your computer, it will look a bit different compared to the mobile version. So let's go through both of them. So this is how your page will look like when you are the admin on the Facebook business page, and you will have the options on the left again. And from there, you can choose Insights, which will take you to a view looking like this. As you can see, this looks a bit different compared to the Business Suite, but it also provides you with the KPIs as well. And here from the left, you can choose the attributes that you want to follow. For example, followers or likes or reach or page views or other actions, and see the content as well. And this, of course, when it's inside Facebook, it will only provide the numbers for Facebook and Facebook posts. So Business Suite gives you Facebook and Instagram both, but this will give you the Facebook posts that you have published and the numbers based on them. It's very much the same idea in here as well. You can look at the reach and the followers, content, and the demographics. And then onto the mobile app. I believe there were many that were using the mobile app. So just take your phone and go to Facebook app so we can check how you can how you can look at these numbers. So here, when you just tell me if I'm going too fast or if you need more information, but I'm gonna go through the Facebook mobile app now. And then it's basically the same process with the Facebook mobile app as well. So you will just go to the page and the general view, and then on the top bar, you will roll to left until you find the button that says more, and you will choose insights from there as well. Hope everyone is able to find it. And here from the selection, you can just choose insights. And here we are. We have the same numbers as well, but just from the app. So it's easier to follow regularly. So you can just use your phone to see the numbers as well. And it's the same information in here. It's very handy to see how your content is doing in Facebook. Do we have any questions about the Facebook side? Were you able to find these numbers and insights from either your computer or phone? If you have any problems or need more information, just tell me on the chat and I will help. And then lastly, let's go through Instagram app. So here, it's very much the same thing that you can do. So just from your profile, choose the, from the upper right corner, you can choose and it will give you the selection and choose the insights, which will take you to a page looking like this, giving the general view. And of course, it's always important, as you can see, it's giving the last 7 days as an option to see the numbers, but you can adjust the time frame you want to see the results from. Instagram will give you an option to see 3 months backwards. On Facebook and Business Suite, it's a bit longer, but here it's only 3 months. So always adjust the time to what time frame you want to see the results from. And then you can also choose reach or engagement or followers from here. It gives you a very clear image of what is happening in the channels and how the audience is reacting to your content posted and how you are gaining followers or reaching different accounts. Does this sound clear to you? Do you think you're able to do this and find the numbers? Just tell me on the chat whether it was clear and you now know how to find the most important KPIs, both on Facebook and Instagram. So as you can see, there are many places you can find the information from, but some will combine many channels and some are inside the channels themselves. Of course, there are the external tools as well, but this will give you plenty of information as well. It is more of a lottery whether I find what I'm looking for or not. Would you want to elaborate more on that, whether it's about finding the numbers you are looking for or maybe making decisions based on them? Or were you able to find the channels or the insights from the channels? Not finding the reach and engagement. What channel are you referring to? Facebook or Instagram? Are you using the mobile app for them? We can just go through it. So now on Insta on phone. So let's go back a few slides. So from here, sometimes have found it, but other times not. So here from the top right, you choose Insights. And then there is an audience engagement, and 3 of them, if I understand correctly, are not the followers. Are we talking about Instagram in here as well? Let's see. So if you go from the Instagram selection to the insights, you can see the general view as well. Perfect. Let's come back to this soon. And there on the general view and overview, you should already see the reach and engagement and followers. Should be looking like this. Found it now. Perfect. Do you think you will be able to find it now in the future as well? And of course, from here, as we saw, you can see more information and clearer numbers from this. But this will be in the material as well. And if it's not possible to download it from here, you will be sent it. So whenever you're having trouble finding these numbers, you can just come back to this presentation and see how to find them. But perfect, I'm happy to hear. And then there was a question, there is an audience engagement and 3 of them, if I understand correctly, are not the followers. How can I check who are these people on Instagram? So you can see the followers overall from here, and then there is a selection that gives you an opportunity to see from where your followers are and whether they are male or female. And that is the information that Instagram will give you. So it will not give more specific information, but you can find the location and the gender and age from Instagram as well when you go and check the followers. Natalia asking, okay, so I can't see their accounts. From the analytics, you cannot, but of course you can, yes, it's only basically very much general info. But if you want to see who is following you, you can of course go to your profile, the overview setting, and from there check the followers. If you're wanting to see, for example, more specific profiles who are following you, you're able to see from there. But from the analytics, it's only very general information. Perfect, thank you. And then we are moving on to how we can define social media goals. Now that we know how to find the numbers and other information, we can learn how to set some SMART goals. So here is one example of how to define social media goals for the company. And it's a 4-phased model. So first, you should begin with the type of challenge that you want to tackle with social media. So it can be, for example, the need to gain more website visitors. And then once you have the challenge you are aiming to tackle set, you can try to figure out how to exactly start responding to the challenge. So next, you can see what do we want exactly and when. So it can be, for example, that you'd like to double the amount of monthly visitors by next year, in a year, through social media. And of course, you will need some tools for that and need to set some channels that you are going to be using. So for example, you can decide that you are going to utilize Facebook more actively. And if you're not using Instagram already, you can, for example, set up your own Instagram account and start using Instagram as well. And then, of course, you will need to follow some KPIs so you will know how well you are progressing. So in this case, the suitable KPI for this would be link clicks. So you will know how many people are actually visiting your website through social media. So here you can set the goal that it is to get 1,000 link clicks combined in a month by March 2023 through Facebook and Instagram combined. So this is an example of how you can define your goals and make them clear and smart. It's always good to think about the SMART 5 objectives when you are defining your goals. And I do recommend you all to think about this whenever you are using social media to help your brand. And then we are going to be doing a little task, so you'll be able to see how this works in reality. So I'm asking you all to define 2 or 3 relevant goals you are wishing to achieve in a year, so by March 2023. So in order to do this, you would need to check the current KPIs and see how they are and have progressed through the first 2 months of 2022, so January and February. And based on these, we're going to be setting some attainable goals you want to reach within a year. And for example, if you're planning to continue with the same time and financial resources you have, you can be quite linear with this. For example, if the amount of followers you have usually grows by 10 followers a month, it can be good to set the goal to 120 a year, since there are 12 months in a year. And if you're planning to work the same way as now, it's good to have very attainable goals. But if you're planning to raise your budget or allocate more time to this, then you can be a bit more ambitious with your goals. But I have a little example of this as well, so you kind of get the idea of how to do this. So here we have the KPI and the explanation and the situation now as of March 2022, and then the rate of how it has grown during January and February, and then the goal for March 2023. So here we have the examples. We have the number of followers, meaning, is anyone interested in our content? Are they interested in following us on different channels? And the example for this is now 100, and it has grown on average around 10 followers a month. So the goal could hence be 220 by March 2023. And the same kind of idea applies to the other two goals as well. So this is more of an internal goal, which is not related to the followers or the people who are viewing your content, but it's more of a goal you are setting for yourself. So this is the number of monthly posts. For example, it's been 2 posts a month for the first 2 months of the year. So you can set a goal that you would like to start posting more. So for example, it can be 4, or it can be more if you want to, but set yourself an attainable goal. And then impressions, meaning how widely is our message spread. For example, if it's around 400 now and it's growing around 50 per month, then you can set your goal based on that. Try to find the average numbers, how it has been, the monthly progress, and set the goal based on that. And here the example had followers and monthly posts and impressions, but you can set the goals that you want to use. So it can be, for example, link clicks or engagement or other numbers that you see relevant. So set yourself 2 or 3 goals, and you can get your laptop or computer or a notebook and a pen and start finding out your goals for the next year, sorry. So I will give you around 10 to 15 minutes for this task, and I will be here the whole time. So if you have any questions or anything related to the task, you can always ask them and I will reply to you. Does this sound clear to you, or are you ready to start doing the task, or do you want to ask about something or different KPIs or goals that you can set? Or if you're a student and don't have a company account, you can do this in a theoretical level and figure out what would be a good goal. You can, for example, choose a company and think about the goals that it could have. Of course, you won't have access to the actual numbers, but you can do this on a very much theoretical level. I will give you...
So we have 10, 15 minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's continue with this at 11:45. We will have time to wrap it all up. So any questions or anything you have related to the task, you can just ask here on the chat or turn on your microphone, and I will help you define your goals. Perfect. So some of the students here have a group work that you can utilize the case company. It's very good. And remember, this is just an example, so set the goals that are relevant for you. So they might not be followers or monthly posts or impressions, it's something else. And make them attainable. and based on, if you have access to the numbers, based on the actual numbers. How is it coming along? Do you find it easy or hard to define them? And whether you want to share the goals in the chat box when you are ready. There's still some time left, so no panic. Perfect. Natalia wants to increase the profile visits from 31 to 50. And Anna-Maja wants to increase monthly posts from 10 to 20. Excellent. It's a very good goal. It's very attainable, since when you're setting goals that are only dependent on your own actions, they are really just about how you are choosing to run your account and making it smooth. And Natalia is wanting to increase likes from 21 to 60 and is asking how we can do it and how to engage people to like our posts. We have more than 200 followers, but so few engagement. Well, of course, 21 from 200 is already around 10%. So that's actually not a bad number at all. But of course, it really depends on the post and many other factors as well. So if you want to increase your likes, and very easy way to do this, of course, is to start doing advertising, which will offer the content to many more people as well, and encourage them to like it and start following as well. Or of course, if you don't want to use any marketing budget for advertising, you can start doing maybe a content plan and start posting more and see what kind of posts are working. For example, if you see that some posts are gaining a lot more likes, you could see if there's something about them that you could utilize in future posts as well. So it's definitely something that has many different ways to it. Usually the engagement rate, meaning how many people from the people who have seen the post like it, is around a couple percent. So it's not so big. So it's important to get the content to spread as far and wide as possible if you're looking to gain more visibility and likes and followers. And of course, it's always a good idea to get people to like your post and share it, so it will spread organically, and that way gain more engagement as well. And in your opinion, does the action call in the post, for example, like the post or give a thumbs, work? I would say, based on my own experience, yes, it does. Yes. Yes, people usually, when they are given a clear recommendation of what to do, they are more likely to follow it. So I recommend it to use that as well. And of course, you can see how it works and try some posts with it and some posts without it, and see if there's a difference. But now we have spent almost 15 minutes. So is it looking ready, or would you need more time? For example, if you make a statement, you could ask to like if you agree. Yes, exactly, Anna-Maja. Very good. And of course, you can always do the like this. For example, in LinkedIn, when you have the different reactions, you can say like this if you think that this is option B, or celebrate this if this is option A, or you can really utilize them in many ways. But now I think we are perfect. There are some likes. So now we can move on. I hope that everyone was able to finish the task in this time. And unfortunately, we do not have time to go through all of the goals that you set, but I'm very happy that we got some goals here on the chat box. So we had profile visit increase and monthly posts and increasing likes and other goals as well. And you can, of course, continue this after this seminar and set more goals if you want to, and define them and make them even clearer. And yes, just utilize the base and the example and see what kinds of goals you want to set. But let's continue to following up on the goals. So of course, after you have set the goals and made actions to reach your goals, it's good to follow up on them and see how well it has went. So first, you should think about who you need to report the goals to. Is it maybe your boss or team or colleagues? And make a clear schedule for this and keep everyone who need to be updated updated as needed with this. And always set a realistic time frame that you will use. And it's not really sensible in social media to use time frames that are too short, as we talked about earlier. So give it some time to see how they will progress. So I would definitely recommend around 6 months or a year or so, and then you can always do a thorough checkup. And of course, you can do daily or weekly or monthly checks to see the numbers, but you shouldn't really make too many assumptions based on them yet. So give it some time. There can always be something that will affect social media. For example, different seasons. When it's Christmas or Black Friday, there will be coming a lot of content from a lot of different channels and a lot of different companies. So always keep the time frame a bit longer, so there won't be anything that will affect it and make the results seem false, because it can be a bit unpredictable sometimes. And of course, think about the tool that you need for following the numbers, that it is informational enough and works for you and everyone else needed. One easy way to do follow-up is, for example, make a content document where you will put all the content you're posting, and then also add the numbers there, so you will have a clear view of what has been posted and how well it has been received by the audience. And this way you will see how they will progress monthly. And then, of course, what is needed in order to reach goals? Many things, definitely. And there are different things that are needed to reach your goals. And this, of course, depends on the company as well and the type of goals you are setting for yourself. Especially if you're having very ambitious goals, you should really see what is needed in order to reach them. So of course, a clear schedule and a to-do list to keep you up to date on what to do and what to do next and how to proceed, and check and see that you are remembering to do everything. And of course, brainstorming and social media meetings are always a good way to come up with content and see how to really utilize the collective creativity you might have. And then a content calendar, of course. It's always good to plan ahead and see what to do next. And then a guide for personal in the case that there is someone else who is also taking care of the social media content and strategy. It's always good to have a clear guide so you are working towards the same goal. And of course, marketing budget, unfortunately, it's not always free. So since it requires either work or, for example, the advertising budget, if you want to do paid advertising, you should always reserve some budget for it as well, because it will quite likely pay itself back. And then, especially for bigger companies, an advertising agency can be useful. If it's a smaller company, it's not a must for many, but it can help, and it can be good to get some perspective to your marketing as well. And then, of course, motivated colleagues. You're not working alone. Then it's good to have people around you who will motivate you as well. And a good atmosphere will take you far. So never underestimate it. And then, of course, some practice and training. Many things about social media are learned by trial and error. So there probably will be some mistakes along the way, but you shouldn't stress about them too much, because you will learn from them and it will be very useful in the future. And then, of course, an incentive program for yourself or the team to make it even more motivating. It's a good way to reward yourself for hard work when the goals are met. So always remember to celebrate the success. And of course, much more. There will be good luck and right timing and other things as well. But this is a good list to keep in mind when you are planning on what you need for your social media success. Perfect. And here we are. This is the seminar. I'm so happy that you were able to join me today for this, and hopefully you learn something new and are now able to utilize them in your own businesses as well. We have some time for questions or ideas or feedback as well, so I would be happy to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, let's wait a little bit if there are any questions.
Yes, definitely. There is still time, so I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And again, just use the chat box, or also you can use the microphone and ask them. So
yeah, we can actually invite audience people to the stage if they would like to.
In the meantime, we are waiting for the questions. Maybe I could thank Amanda for a very insightful presentation. Your advice on how to define SMART goals and how to choose the right KPIs were very useful, and it was very practical to see how you can follow up them in Facebook and Instagram. So thank you very much, Amanda.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being here.
Yes, thank you from Remington and Petra. Well, probably no any question. Yeah, it was good that we could ask questions during the webinar and you was answering. So yes, thank you very much, Amanda, for this topic, for the content. I hope so that the audience, companies, and students, they learned new things. And we have like 4 minutes left. I just wanted to announce. So this was, as I mentioned at the beginning, this was the last webinar what we organized in our project, and we are actually the My Story project is on a final stage. The project ends in September. And if you are following us, so you probably received a newsletter sent like a couple of weeks ago, and there was informed that in August, 24th of August, we will have a closing seminar, content closing seminar in Tornionlaakson, where we will present the project outcomes, the results, we are planning the digital guidelines based on all webinars and workshops what we had for the companies, and we are presenting digital pilots. So you can already book now your calendar, 24th of August in Tornionlaakson, and more information and of course detailed program will be sent to you later on. There is a question.
Yes, Remington is asking how vital it is to follow trends in social media for your goals. Well, of course, it really depends on the company here as well and the channel. For example, if you're using TikTok, where the trends are very vital to the channel, there it can be important to follow them. But I'd say that in LinkedIn, in Facebook, and Instagram and Twitter, it is really important to just stay relevant and true to the brand and see what kind of content really fits the brand. So if it feels forced to follow the trends, I would say not to follow them. But if it can give something more, it can be interesting to try them. But I wouldn't be too worried about them. Always see how they fit the brand and the channel.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. So I believe there is no any question and we can finish. And as I mentioned before, the slides will be sent to all attendees with a separate email. You will receive very soon the recording and the feedback link because it's automatically set it up, that setting, but the slides will be sent later on. We will do it manually. Yeah. So, but if you will have any question afterwards, you can always contact the project team, our team. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for attending this webinar. Thank you for your question and for your activity. Thanks, Amanda, again for your presentation. And so we will meet you later, maybe in other events. Okay. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank you very much on my behalf as well. Thanks. Bye and good luck.
Bye.